folks, welcome back to an all-new So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Friday episode. You did it. You made it to the end of the week. Thank God. And we are here to do a Real Housewives of Orange County recap. This is, I think, episode 11. What is this going to be, like it's probably going to be an 18-episode season. I feel like I was waiting at the end of this episode for them to say, like, and the season finale, and we didn't get that. We're not going to get that for a hot minute. And I don't know. You know, I read some of the discourse out there about OC, and it seems like it is not a very well-liked season. And it's hard. Like, you know, I was thinking about how when you really like something, sometimes you don't even realize how much you like something because you're so busy liking it that you don't even stop to think like, oh, because you're so in it, right? You're so wrapped up in it that you are not sitting there going like, I am really liking this, you know, because it's just good. But when you don't like something, you pick it apart. And listen, the job here on this podcast is we pick everything apart, whether we like it or we don't like it. So I don't know whether I like it or don't like it. You know, that's kind of out the window sometimes with me on some of these shows, is that like, I definitely didn't like the route that they were headed. But if you're going to head down that road of Katie Ginella and the Kiki Monique of it all, don't all of a sudden duck and run. Put the pedal to the metal, man. If you're going to introduce that storyline, you better finish that storyline out. And I think, you know, with Housewives, we have certain rules or certain expectations, right? You can't, you got to show up for the cast trips. And I also say you got to invite everybody on the cast trips, even if you don't like somebody. You can't fully ice somebody out. And if you do ice somebody out, the golden rule is that usually makes that person so much stronger. And so I weirdly am looking forward to Katie coming back on just to see how they wrap this storyline up. And so we can finally get to the reunion, because so much has happened since they stopped filming and released the shows. And like all of the podcasts that they all did and all of the shit talking that they went back and forth with. So I think that's really the thing is, you know, we talk about that 360 viewing, is that especially with OC, it's not just the show anymore. It's everything behind the scenes. And you know, you've seen recently, Tamra did like a full offensive, it seemed like, in terms of going out, doing podcasts, her own podcasts, and she made it very clear that on season 20, she wants a certain cast, right? She wants to potentially bring back Alexis Bellino, and that would mean John Jansen would come back. She does not want Shannon Beador back. And I think that is... what scares me, you guys, is that I saw a quote somewhere. I wish I had pulled it, where I don't know if it was Alexis, I think, talking, because she co-hosts the Carlos King podcast. I think they do OC recaps together, and I've seen some clips, and it seems good. I always love Carlos. I think Alexis said, oh, Shannon's out there trying to get Tamra fired or something of that nature. And I was like, really? I kind of read a lot of things, and I have not seen that. I've seen Shannon express her displeasure of Tamra continuing to call her a drunk, but I haven't seen like the whole fire Tamra, but I sure have seen Tamra go out there, including on Jeff Lewis, and say, yeah, we don't need Shannon. We don't need Shannon. And, you know, it's interesting because you see in this episode, as well as like the last scene of last week's episode, is like if Shannon would just kiss the ring, if Shannon would just kiss the Tamra ring, if she would bend the knee, Tamra would forget about it like nobody's business until the next time that it gets riled up. But I think Shannon is at that place, and we are striving for some sort of reality in this unreal kind of forum where, you know, if you were in that spot, if you felt you were getting dicked over time and time again by somebody like Shannon feels with Tamra, you would eventually hopefully get to a place where you would throw your hands up and go, I just can't go back there right now. Now, the devil's advocate argument of that is, well, you're paid to go back there. You're paid to conflict resolution, unless you're on Real Housewives of New Jersey, and then you're allowed to just hate each other forever. So what do? But what scares me is that Tamra is so damn good at her messaging that as I get near the end of the season, I go, man, I do think Shannon is potentially going to be either demoted to friend of or just get like a bench warmer season and be put on pause. Because Tamra, I'm just telling you that I think this is the season that I've gained a full appreciation of Tamra, not for who we are seeing on screen, but how she works behind the scenes. Is that this is somebody that sees it very clearly, whether they will admit it or not, and plays it like a game. And, you know, she'll ask to be forgiven. And if you don't forgive her in that moment, she'll eventually freak out at you. And I think it's very effective. People and other housewives, if there's any future housewives listening right now, study Tamra or build a better boat, build upon what Tamra has shown us. But she's very effective. And I don't really know what the breakdown of the audience is in terms of, do you like Tamra or not? Is it 50-50? Is it 60-40? What is it? But it doesn't matter because she produces content. And that's why I've said is that Tamra one day is going to make a great reality TV show producer. Now, we all have our favorites, right? And this is where it's okay to disagree, is that my favorite is Shannon. And a lot of people don't like Shannon, but I like Shannon because to me, I see somebody very clearly going through something. You can read it between her eyes. You're just like, oh my God, you are really going through something, Shan. And I think that is always fascinating to watch. Tamra, I feel like, puts on a performance, right? And then you have these other ladies, Jenn Pedranti, Emily, Gina, Heather, Gretchen. I said Emily. Did I say Emily? Yeah. You have all these other ladies, but to me, that's the main tete-a-tete right now. That's the main war, is Shannon and Tamra, unless you had gotten Katie back in there, and then we could have thrown the ball to Katie, the hot potato. So Gina and Emily, you know, they're interesting when you split them up. They try to both be reliable narrators in a sense, even though they fully can't handle that role. But I thought it was interesting to split these ladies up. Like I said yesterday, if you listen to the show, I have a greater appreciation for understanding Heather Dubrow a little bit more. And then Gretchen Rossi, I think you start to see the facade crack a little bit and that they really like to produce as well. Gretchen is the other side of the coin with Tamra. They are both very similar. And Slade, yeah, you're just going to slip with this information about Tamra potentially cheating. No, you had this in your back pocket. You were waiting. And for Gretchen to be like, no, don't tell her, you guys. I don't want to be in trouble. That is such a ridiculous statement when you know you are being filmed. You see the camera right there. It's not hidden cameras, you guys. There's a camera guy right there in khakis. And so that is just so, no. You, of course, know it's going to get back. You want it to get back to her. This is part of a plot, like Tamra plots, Gretchen plots. But I thought, to me, it was very clear. And the slate of it all is just so funny to think about how this man, or at least they paint him to be, obsessed with Real Housewives of Orange County. And in that sense, I kind of like it. I kind of like, because there has been so many years, 19th season, right? Slade's been a part of this show in some fashion since season 1. And I kind of like that he's in there in Bravo prison, just working out, collecting information on Tamra, bunch of tattoos, growing a weird mustache, smoking filthy cigars, and just plotting his way back onto OC so he can finally nail Tamra. I mean, that's the kind of imagination I go through when I watch these shows. The reality of that is probably so much less exciting. But to me, he is sitting there just like there's like a whole Tamra shrine where he, little voodoo dolls and pictures that he's printed out on a shitty printer with like an X across it. Like, no, boo, Tamra. And now he finally gets his chance to try to get one shot to take Tamra down. And what's he going to do with that one shot? He's got to make sure him and Gretchen, they're well rehearsed. We cannot afford to miss this opportunity. And if it goes well, we've got a full paycheck next season. We've got a full paycheck, baby. So we've just got to be really on point. Now, did any of those conversations happen? Probably not. But my God, is it fun to imagine that. Anyways, how are you guys? Are you good? I just got back from Venice Beach. because I was doing this podcast. I told you about it yesterday. It's called Raiders of the Lost Podcast, and it's a movie podcast. And we talked about Boogie Nights, but we were at this production facility called Lighthouse. And it's like, I guess, a place that like a bunch of creatives, it's like a monthly membership or whatever. And they had a membership, but it was like, you know those things in movies where you like go to those high-tech places and everybody's like has their like cappuccino and they're talking creatively with each other. And I was like, wow, this is a bunch of creatives. It was very exciting. I think the podcast is going to come out next week. So I'll let you guys know about it. But it was so nice to just talk directly about one movie and also just to be effusive in your praise about it. You know, like we always joke about dick riders, you know, but I'm so happy to be a dick rider for the filmmaker Paul Thomas Anderson. Like I will dick ride that man. Like I have very minimal things to say bad about Paul Thomas Anderson. So yeah, I'll let you guys know when that comes out. And that's it. We'll be doing some Patreon episodes over the weekend. People really seem to enjoy the Real Housewives of New York Season 1, Episode 1 recap. So maybe we just roll that over and start doing Episode 2 of RHONY. And then me and Maritza are going to bring back our Shooting the Shit episodes. So that should be fun. Hopefully we can get those both done this weekend. And yeah, that's it. Let's dig into this episode. Hopefully this won't be a long one because I feel like I always say that. But yeah, who knows? Yeah, let's try. Okay, so that's... sorry, I paused, you guys, and then I went and had to do something else, and then I came back and I realized I didn't know what the last thing I said was, and the service in which I used to record this, it doesn't let you rewind. So I think I said what I wanted to say in terms of opening up the show, talking about OC, which is all we're talking about today. So let's go to the title and the show description. This is episode 11, Loose Lips Sink Trips. Do you get it? So it's like when you're talking trash, it can really ruin trips. The description that DirecTV gives us says, after a dinner in Temecula, Tamra tries to turn the trip around for the ladies. Heather, Emily, and Gretchen's wild night out in West Hollywood ends with Gretchen revealing gossip about Tamra. Tamra's efforts to win Shannon's favor are thwarted. Now remember, to win Shannon's favor last week, she showed her daughter a book that was going to be like, you know, like, you're a miserable fat cow. Like if Shannon doesn't like, thank God Tamra didn't throw down the book, but that's the description that we get. So let's get into this. Off as we always do previously on The Real Housewives of Orange County. And we have like Heather welcoming Gretchen and Emily to her fancy 2-floor penthouse apartment. Like, welcome to how the other half live. And Emily, remember, escaped her evil son, Luke. This Luke. Luke. Did you see on that wife swap preview that Luke was... This kid, Emily, they've made Luke a star. Luke is way too powerful now. They've made Emily's son way too powerful. I have a prediction he will come out at the reunion and he will be grilled by the women. No, we cut to Emily and Gretchen on the car ride down. And remember, Emily brought a bottle of Fireball and they were doing like prop work, like, and for somebody that is so traumatized still by that Naked Wasted episode, Gretchen shouldn't be like acting like she's chugging Fireball. And then we cut to Temecula where the other group of women are, right? And Shannon Beador was riding shotgun in a 2-seater motorcycle. And she's like, there's snot going everywhere. Snot. And Shannon's like throwing snot on people, which, by the way, if I could just get a little ounce of Shannon's snot, that would be such a good thing for the reality show museum. Then we had that conversation in Temecula where Gretchen and Tamra went off, and not Gretchen, sorry. Gina and Tamra went to the side, and Gina was like, I understand the last year with Shannon's drinking. So she's like, I understand with Shannon last year, the drinking, but then this year, you're pulling her away, Tamra, for a cocktail. And once again, we are talking about our friends over at Quince. You guys, I can't stop wearing the breathable navy sports jacket I have. I'm wearing it way too much. I need to go on Quince and get something new because I keep wearing it, but I love it so much. And as cooler temps are rolling in, Quince is where I'm turning for fall staples that actually last. From cashmere to denim to boots, the quality holds up and the price still blows me away. Quince has all kinds of fall staples that you are going to wear nonstop, like super soft 100% Mongolian cashmere sweaters starting at just $60. Their denim is durable and it fits right, and their real leather jackets bring that clean, classic edge without the elevated price tag. And what makes Quince different is they partner directly with ethical factories and skip the middlemen, so you get top-tier fabrics and craftsmanship at half the price of similar brands. That sounds really good. So keep it classic and cool this fall with long-lasting staples from Quince. Go to quince.com/sobad for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Just go to the website. You're going to find a lot of good stuff. That's quince.com/sobad. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/sobad. And then we flash to that New Orleans thing where Tamra was like, come on, Shannon, you're buying me a drink. So that's Gretchen's pointing out that Tamra is almost being a bad influence on Shannon. And then we see that Tamra uses that information immediately against Gina. Because in this scene, Tamra's like, okay, so you don't think she's getting better either, right, Gina? And that's not what Gina was saying. Gina was saying, why, if you're so worried, are you pulling this girl for a drink? But Gina's like, I see Shannon kind of creeping back. Yeah. And then we go to the other ladies who are having dinner at Crustacean. And Emily says, Jen asked me if I thought you just pacify Tamra because you're scared of her. And Heather's like, that statement is bullshit. And then we go back to Temecula and they're like, oh, Shannon, you get the big room. And Shannon's like, Shannon's just so anxiety ridden. She's like, this is too much. That is when I start to feel uncomfortable. And then we go to her and Jenn Pedranti in the wine fields, and Shannon's like, I am never going to feel comfortable with Tamra. And by the way, why is that hard to believe? Would you feel comfortable if every year you went on a show and somebody threw your ass under the bus? Like, wouldn't that be the normal way to feel? And then we go to like the final, like the table with them at the winery when Shannon didn't know what RHOC Tua was. And then the final dinner where Shannon's like, I don't like you, Tamra. It just, all you do is call me a drunk and an alcoholic. And you say, have a drink every time you see me. And then Tamra goes, well, even Gina says that she's worried about you drinking right now. And then there's just a shot of Gina of like, oh, no, Tamra, you brought me into this? Jeez. And Gina's like, what do you mean, Gina? And that's where we start tonight's episode. I mean, but literally, like, Tamra would be so frustrating because she uses she's so good at getting people into conversations, and then she immediately will use your words to make you look like the bad one. So Gina is like, well, I worry about you, Shannon. And Shannon just looks completely like, I'm watching her face right now, and she's like, huh? And Gina's like, for me, just because I do care about you and I know the place that you've been in, I don't want to see you to go back. And Shannon's like, I'm never going to, Gina. And Gina's like, yeah, but it's appropriate for me to worry. And Tamra in her cowboy kemosabe hat's like, yes, it is, yes. And Shannon's like, I appreciate you worrying about, And then Gina goes, yeah, but to be fair, that was born out of something that I didn't like that you did, Tamra. So Gina actually standing up to Tamra in this moment. So you got to applaud Gina, right? And Tamra's like, yeah, okay, yeah. And Gina's like, I didn't like that you shit on her all last year, and now you're taking her away for secret drinks. And Tamra's like, but Gina, what did I say? Tamra's the subtext there is like, be careful, Gina. I'll come get you. And Tamra's like, oh, no, I said, oh, I totally get what you're saying. But Gina, you said you also understood where I came from. And we flash to that scene in the vineyard. And Tamra's like, I wasn't taking her away to have a drink. See, Tamra is such a manipulator with her words. You literally said, Shannon, come buy me a drink. And then in this scene, I was taking her away to tell her to buy me a drink, but I was using mind manipulation to not buy me a drink. But Shannon's like, no, Tamra, sorry, you guys, I don't know any of these ladies' names today. But Tamra's like, I know that Shannon's love language is going to have a cocktail. And Gina's like, yeah, I get that. In a talking head, Tamra says, no matter what I do, people will find fault in what I'm doing. I'm damned if I do. I'm damned if I don't. That is see, this is the playbook, you guys. This is the Tamra playbook. Is like, no, now we need to feel bad for her because she's damned if she does, damned if she doesn't. So anything Tamra does wrong, Tamra's still like, we should feel bad for her because she just can't win. No, it is really like, this is it. She throws so much of a hissy fit sometimes that other people get confused and then they back down off their initial point, which does make a lot of sense. Gina's point makes sense. Why, if you're so worried about somebody drinking and you are throwing it in their face all the time, are you taking them away to have a drink? Doesn't matter if that's Shannon's love language. It's tacky if you do it, if you try to take her away for a drink because you make fun of her so much for it. But Shannon in this scene goes, I make decisions on what's best for me. And Tamra's like, okay. And Shannon's just like, hey, last year was traumatic for me. I was in a hole that I didn't think I could crawl out of. That hole is called John Jansen, you guys. His big holy anus. Sorry. But Shannon says, I am still processing all of that still. And then there's just silence from the ladies. And then Tamra's like, let me just ask you, what do I need to do to make things better? A real business guy, a business lady right here. How do I get you in this car today, Shannon? And Shannon's thinking, she's like, huh. And she's like, time is what I need. I appreciate the nice, kind gestures. I've laughed a lot today, and I think that's great. And I hope that's enough, because that's all I can do right now. And Shannon's using her hand, so you know she means it. And Tamra's like, oh, okay. And listen, once again, if we were to go by the real world, what she's saying is appropriate. Now, we're in a reality television show where you only have so many episodes a season. So my thought is this forgiveness? Is her saying, I just need time? Will the reality show give Shannon time? Or will they be like, no, Tamra wants to make up. You need to make up now too. Or you're the bad one. And Gina's like, yeah, well, I think everybody said their piece, so that's fair, And Jen's like, yeah, we're better off. We're better than where we were last year. Are we? I mean, are we? Like, I love when we're like, okay, we did enough tonight. We're good. And Shannon's just like, hey, I appreciate everything that you've done, Tamra. I'm grateful. And I thank you. I thank you. I really do. Tamra says, as much as this conversation was different and difficult, I appreciate it. And I think that's what real friends do, is they actually talk about things. And I know I've probably never done that before because I've always been on the defense, and I apologized, and I hope we can go back to the house and have some shenanigans. And then she goes, shenanigans. Get it? Shannon, shenanigans. Get it? Like, is Tamra running for office? Like, in the last couple of episodes since the Xanax quitting episode, she's just, I love, like, Tamra comes out of like, this is what I'm trying to do, and I want to make it very clear to the camera that I have done all of my attempts, and now I am willing to still go and have fun. Like, she's doing everything by the book. But even Shannon's like, okay, Shannon's uncomfortable. She doesn't want to have shenanigans. She's uncomfortable with the big room. And then Tamra throws a napkin. Tamra's showing like, look, guys, conflict resolution. We can have fun. I just threw a napkin at Shannon. And Shannon's like, who threw a napkin? So they're rallying, you guys. It's fun. It's fun. And then we flash back to last season when Tamra threw a napkin at Jenn Pedranti. And so it's part of Tamra's playbook too. Okay, so we cut out of there, and all of a sudden we're back magically in Beverly Hills, California at Crustacean Restaurant, and Heather Dubrow is like, that was delicious. Oh, so good. And Emily tells the waiter that they're not going home. They got places to go. And Heather's like, there's paparazzi waiting for us. And she's making a little joke about the paparazzi, which is ridiculous because she truly did call the paparazzi. And Heather's like, Mr. Waiter, I know the paparazzi by name. And we flash back to last week. The most awkward cameo was the paparazzi lady. And she's like, I know for a fact that you did not call the paparazzi. It was on the paparazzi newsletter. You never did. It's amazing. And Heather being, hey, paparazzi lady, what's your name? Can I give you a handshake? Can I give you a Heather Dubrow handshake? Shane, thank you so much. Heather says, anyways, I hope you ladies appreciate my feelings about Tamra. Was I scared of her before? Yes, because she is mean. I have many difficult people in my life. And I started to tell her this story about my dad. And then we flashed to 2 weeks earlier when Heather is talking to Tamra, and Heather's like, you remind me of my dad because you have a chin beard. No, she goes, because in public with my family, he would have these outbursts. And Tamra says, I don't have any outbursts in my family, and Heather's like, I'm not saying that you do. Well, that's kind of exactly what you're saying. And now you're telling these ladies that. But Heather says Tamra blew it off. She never came back to the conversation, and she hasn't asked me about it since. So maybe Tamra's right. Damned if she does, damned if she doesn't, right? And Gretchen, a little slurry in this line, she's like, so what is your situation? What is your situation with your dad? And then Heather goes, thank you for asking. You've done it the play. Well, thank you for asking, Gretchen. I appreciate that, Jean Benet. And she says her dad died a few years ago, you guys, and there's unresolved things that she has blown off for years. He would sometimes act a certain way that would be very uncomfortable for her and her sisters in public. In a talking head, she says there were just random times where her dad would have an explosion. And we see a picture of Heather's father as a young guy with Heather, the baby, on his lap. These are paparazzi photos. No. She goes, we'd be out, we'd be at a restaurant or on a vacation, and it was embarrassing and it was disturbing, she says, and it was upsetting. So she's saying her dad would have these outbursts, and it reminds her of Tamra. And this is where I thought, this was a fascinating piece of information about Heather Dubrow. But Heather's like, I was trying to help Tamra understand that sometimes she acts that way that makes me feel uncomfortable. And she says, if there's one thing about Tamra, she can be volatile, and you don't know when that's going to come at you. I mean, doesn't she nail it? I mean, she really describes Tamra to a T. And even Tamra is starting to describe herself this way this season as well. And maybe that's all the work she's doing in, therapy. Heather continues saying, what I say about my dad is that he didn't have that sort of empathy to understand how it would affect other people. And Emily and Gretchen are just shaking their heads. I think Gretchen is in agreement. I can't tell with all the makeup. But Heather says, Tamra doesn't get that. So this is really interesting, is that she is saying that Tamra lacks empathy like her dad. And Emily says you can't put expectations on someone that can't reach the expectations. Just like my troublemaker son, Luke. No, she doesn't say that. Emily in a talking head says, I think for Tamra to have real friendships with people, I think it's hard because she always feels compelled to argue or to be combative. I think she is always thinking in terms of strategizing. I feel like it's always just some type of chess game. You guys, I know this isn't the case, but my God, after Emily said that, I was like, Emily listens to the show. Emily listens to this podcast. How many times have we said that, folks? She plays this like a game of Survivor. She plays this like a game of the traitors. The traitors. And the thing that I always wonder about, and I don't know the answer to this, is what is Tamra's life like away from this? Is she combative in real life relationships, or is it just a byproduct of when those cameras turn on, that's who she becomes? Like, I would love to know the answer to that. Is her life relatively peaceful off camera? And we are just getting somebody that feels like this is what Housewives is. We are gladiators with tits and we got to roll. But my God, when Emily said that, I was like, okay, I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. This is other people are seeing this too. So then Heather is like, that is why I feel I give Tamra allowances. And this is why, and Gretchen interrupts her and goes, and this is why the psychology behind Tamra, it reminds you of someone in your life. You tend to gravitate towards that person. You're actually looking to fulfill and heal or heal yourself, as Whitney would say from Salt Lake City, that they're going to give you a different response than what your parent gave you. I got to tell you, I agree completely with Gretchen here. How fascinating is that? That's why I like the study of psychology and therapy. There's a lot of interesting things of maybe Heather bows to Tamra in some way or wanting to get that response that she never got from her father. I was like, Gretchen, tell me more. But Heather starts tearing up a little bit. She's like, maybe that's why I parent the way I do. I created my family the way I have because you can't control where you come from, but you can sort of control where you go to. That's so, this is what I'm saying. It blew me away. And sure, this is like dime store psychology, but like even Heather she's fancy pants. Obviously, she didn't come from fancy pants. And so she has built this world that is potentially so different from the world that she came up in. And she gets to be the king and the queen. Well, I guess Terry's the queen and she's the king of this fiefdom, right? Gretchen in a talking head, looking like an older JonBenet Ramsey, says, I love that the fact that Heather is opening up. I don't feel like I get to see a lot of this from Heather, and I think she should share more because I think it will help people understand her better. Once again, completely agree with it. Do you know how much I watched that scene and I was kind of really like, wow, I really did. You know how rare it is to learn something about these ladies after so long? And I was like, to me, that was a mind-blowing moment. Maybe you guys didn't care so much, but I thought it was amazing. Gretchen says, anyways, everything was delicious. Emily's like, it's really good as she's like stuffing breadsticks into her purse. And then Heather's like, let's go dance. And then Heather's like, let's go to the Abbey. Now, the Abbey, for those who don't live in Los Angeles, is kind of like the number one gay bar in West Hollywood. But even more than that, you guys, it is, this was like 15 years ago, this number, but it was the top bar in all of the United States in terms of liquor sales. It is just and I don't know if it still holds that title, but even gay, straight, whatever, it was like the number one. And it's right next to where Pump used to be, where Ken crashed that Porsche into the wall. So it's close to Tom Tom. It's close to Something About Her, Sir. And it really, that place goes off. And Heather's like, have you been there, Gretchen? And Gretchen's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, on the pole, because there are poles at the Abbey. And then Gretchen's like, I need more alcohol. Well, don't get naked wasted, Gretchen, please. Anyways, she's like, I need another drink. And Emily empties her purse. And not only do they have a big bottle of Fireball that they brought, but Emily has a bunch of little bottles of Fireball in her purse. And it seems like 3 bottles of Fireball and 1 lip gloss. This makes me want to get a purse. Anyways, they're like, we're going, woo! Oh, she also has gummy worms in her purse, you guys. Loose. Could you imagine? Loose gummy bears. I like to keep my loose gummy bears in my purse because they get warm and mushy, and it's a good source of calories when I need them. Like, what? Okay, so now we're back in Temecula, and the ladies are pulling. By the way, this place that they're in is massive and beautiful, and I don't feel like they really used it enough. Everybody's on their guard. Like, Shannon can't get wasted anymore and all this stuff, and I feel like, God, this would be such a great house for, like, complete hijinks. But anyways, Tamra's like, we're going to change the mood. The fire is lit for them. There's like all this sexy lighting outside. And then Tamra starts humping Gina. And Gina's like, no, woo. And Tamra's like, yeah, yeehaw, yeehaw. Tamra tells Gina, I can't imagine you horny. Do you go up to your friends and try to imagine them horny or not? Like, oh, I'm getting a real block here. trying to imagine you dry humping something, and I'm coming up snake eyes on that. But then Gina says something that I don't feel like she needs to say. I felt like I learned a lot of information from Heather. I didn't want the same from Gina. Gina takes that comment seriously. She's like, I feel like I'm very different in the bedroom. Like, I'm just not like a public, like a public pervert, Like, ooh, like just imagine what she's doing with Travis's huge balls behind closed doors. And they bleep out the word fucking, and then Shannon comes in and hears it in a talking head. She's like, what kind of fucking are they talking about? What? What is that? What is a public fuck? Jen asks, what are we doing right now? Tamra says, let's get in the hot tub. Tamra in her talking head says, I know Tamra didn't want to put on a bathing suit. And we flash back to that conversation 2 days earlier. So I just thought, let's get these nice shirts. They look like we have bikinis on. And a few hours earlier, they flash back to, those things you see in like Daytona, Florida, at those t-shirt shops where it is, guys mainly wear them of like, look at me, I'm a busty girl with a swimsuit on. So Tamra, she's saying she's doing this to help Shannon. But I think in some ways, isn't this further humiliating Shannon? So Shannon sees this shirt and says, I think somebody's taking the costume torch from me. But Tamra says, these shirts are funny and quirky, like Shannon is. These shirts like to hide things, like Shannon does. So Tamra's like, let's go get dressed and like, let's go have fun. God damn it, she says. And you tell Shannon's drinking a Diet Coke, and this is the thing. Shannon probably just wants to rip through 2 bottles of wine, and she can't in front of these ladies anymore because she knows it'll be used as a storyline. Okay, so now we go back to Beverly Hills. The ladies are at the Abbey. They're walking up. The car pulls up. Imagine you're at the Abbey and you saw some Real Housewives. I'd freak out. Gretchen shakes the hand of the bouncer. Hi, Gretchen. Great. Hi, great. And they make a joke about Gretchen performing on the pole, and they keep flashing back to 2013 when Gretchen did that Pussycat Dolls thing in Vegas, I think. And they actually have a little flash of Brooks, Girth Brooks, Vicki's ex with the teeth. Okay, you guys, I'm so sorry this is late. We're 35 minutes into this already, but it is Friday now instead of Thursday, and I wasn't able to release this overnight. A lot of things happened in the last day. So I apologize. We're going to pick back up to the recap in a second. But yeah, I had done 2 other podcasts yesterday. This is where the dog ate my homework. 2 other podcasts, and then I had to go to this Jeff Lewis mixer. And at the last minute, Jamie Kennedy had to back out of his appearance on Jeff Lewis Live on Friday, so they asked me to fill in. So went to that mixer, and then I had to get some sleep because I did not sleep the night before. But we are back, so I'm so sorry for the delay, but it turns out I release 1,000 episodes a week, so hopefully you had something. And there's so many fantastic podcasts out there from every one of my peers, so I'm sure you were in good hands. But let's get back to this. The ladies, Gretchen, Emily, and Heather, walk right into the Abbey, and dongs are flying, you guys. And Heather Dubrow is like, the Abbey is all in good fun. And Gretchen's in there. She's picking up dollar bills. Woo! And Heather says, this is not like Tamra's Bachelorette in Mexico, where Gretchen hired the strippers and they were exposing their donkey meat with the cock ring and ear fucking the girls. I shit you not, you guys. This was 2014. They showed the clip, but that actually came out of Heather Dubrow's mouth. Ear fucking the girl. This is not like that trash Tamra's Bachelorette party where dicks were flying everywhere, where balls, it was a ball fest. Ball fest at Tamra's bachelor party. But it is funny because, listen, I don't love an overuse of flashbacks, but I will say I did enjoy this 2014 where people are screaming, they need Febreze, Heather, because just all the ball sweat, I would imagine. But Heather's like, no, it is not like that. So the ladies are making it rain. Heather Dubrow making it rain for male strippers or male dancers is just, that's always great. Emily says, sometimes moms need a night out because of my troubled son, Luke. And it's not a night to remember, maybe just a night to forget. And then Gretchen starts drinking a bottle of Veuve Clicquot straight out of the bottle. Getting naked, wasted, Gretchers, woo! Emily fully starts like getting swung around by this stripper and just like thrusting on him. Gretchers says, I feel like maybe Emily's not getting enough at home. How dare you, Gretchers? Shane is laying it down. Shane is a he's not Latin, but he is a Latin lover. Shane is laying it down the Shane Simpson way. But Gretchers is like, she is riding that cowboy. Gretchers, I'm sure you rode the cowboys. Slade's not your only cowboy. Come on. So now they get up on the poles. Gretchers seems very comfortable around the pole. So if this doesn't work out with Orange County, she's got a backup. But she does say she's an experienced pole dancer, you guys. And she's dropping it like it's hot. And she says in her 20s, she kicked a couple strippers off stage and took their position. And she was like, yeah, I can do this. Good for you, Gretchers. But she was like, that was in the good old days. Well, the good old days are here again because Gretchers and Emily, they're just sliding around this pole. Slip sliding away, slip slide away. And then Gretchers starts cowgirling Emily on the stage. And Heather's like, I expected it to be fun, but I didn't expect it to be Girls Gone Wild. Girls Gone Mild, you know what I'm saying? Emily says she likes Gretchers when she drinks a little bit. She's a whole different Gretchers. I will tell you, I mean, Emily, I didn't like when they were calling her Gretchers, but now it's like crept up on me, and I do like saying Gretchers. And she says she loves fun, drunk Gretchers over like praying Gretchers. This is, by the way, this is what's called sin, right? This is Emily's the devil. And we flashed to one of Gretcher's Instagram videos where she face tunes her nostril out and she's like, Jesus loves you. Have a great day, you guys. Mwah, mwah. Jesus loves everybody. And then they're in the car on the way home, and Emily's like, should we FaceTime Shane? It would be great if Shane was at the Abbey too, of like, I'm here. I'm just in a different room. Anyways, Emily's like, uh-oh, there's the children. Hi, Keller. Hi, Luke. Luke's like, Mommy, come home, Mommy. But Shane says he got a plane simulator on his iPad for the kids. Emily says, even though it's difficult and I think about what's going on at home, and we flashed it 2 weeks earlier where she's like, I don't think things are good with Luke, Shane. He's possibly autistic. I mean, it's just like Tamra. We don't want to jump to these announcements until we know. But he says he doesn't think and function like other children do. And she says, as moms, we need time away and it helps her feel normal. But anyway, she's like, night, Luke, love you. And he says, love you too, like an actual kid. There's no baby voice here. So I have high hopes for Luke and Keller. So they're now in the drive home and it's like, they're like, we should have done karaoke tonight. And Gretchen's like, can we find a karaoke place? Do you think they will play my song? And she laughs. And Heather's like, wait, but I forgot that you have a song. I forgot as well. And Gretchen reminds us that she has 4 songs. And we cut back to 2012 in the stew with Slade. And she's singing, 'cause you'll never break me, break me, break me. It's Friday, 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 break me down. And Emily says, does Tamra know that you had a song? Because I feel like she would have played them. And Gretchen says, well, Tamra tried to be a singer. I have the audio of her trying to sing in a studio, and it was not very good. I need all of this audio, and I'm talking about all this audio about what we're about to hear. And Gretchen makes a weird face when she says this, and Heather's like, well, now we need to hear it. It would be great if it was like, that's my opinion, da 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 da, that's my, you'll never see my face again, that's my, if it's like death metal, Tamra. But they're like, you know, we need to hear it. And she's like, I don't ever want to play it. And Emily's like, when did Tamra go to a studio? And Gretchen's like, when she banged bleep. When she banged bleep. And Heather makes a zoiks face. Zoiks? Ugh. Heather says, I personally do not know this singer. It's Michael Bublé, you got. No, it's Josh Groban. No. Emily says, I'm a Gen X, so I know who it is. Of course I know who it is. But we, the audience, don't know. And Heather asks Gretchers, was she married? And Gretchen's like, no, but kind of says like she was, and Heather goes, oh, that would be bad. It's called a storyline. Would it be bad or would it be a storyline? Let's play a game, guys. That's a story. So they cut to commercial at this point, but I want to let you know. So this is who the singer is. It's allegedly Jeff Timmons. If that name sounds unfamiliar to you, he is probably the 30th most popular boy band of all time. That is right, 98 Degrees. Oh, it's hot in here. No, it's 98 Degrees. And this is from a 2017 article from All About the Tea, May 10th, 2017. I'm getting this from an account Just Booking Around, and it doesn't seem that reputable. So who knows, you guys? This is probably not true, but the fact that it's Jeff Timmons, Tamra, of course, you gotta hook up. You gotta get busy with a member of 98 Degrees. And if you can't do, obviously, I'm Nick Lachey, then you got to go with Jeff Timmons. It's the second most popular person in that band, I think. I don't know. I don't really know all the members of 98 Degrees, but that's who it is, allegedly. But this article and the accompanying audio don't seem, I think it is probably fake. I was just more excited about Tamra in a recording stew. Like Tamra in a stew, that is more exciting to me than her possibly hooking up with Jeff Timmons. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of Gretchen and Slade. This to me is a very you've got to find a way to bring this up and be like, oh, it's nothing. I feel like this is completely plotted out. Anyways, they get back to Heather's abode and Nate, the sleepover butler, is there. Do you guys have sleepover butlers? But anyways, they're really excited to see Nate. And Heather's like, it's really special to me that you guys are sleeping over. So I just wanted to make it cute. And then she reveals all the canopy beds and they're screaming like madmen, yay, yay. And there's monogrammed eye pillows and monogrammed this is way too much. And then Emily immediately jumps on the bed and starts doing splits. And they're living in the lap of luxury. Poor Terry. Do we think about Terry in these scenarios? He's on the top floor. You probably can't hear on the top floor, but, still, you probably just feel the energy, like a darkness. And Emily says Annabelle had a sleepover for her 12th birthday, and they all laid on the couch. They watched a movie and they ate popcorn. So it was nothing like this. So she's instructing them to put on their PJs and then they're going to eat some snacks. But Emily's like, yeah, I got to go to Heather's house, have a custom bed with twinkle lights and candy and a butler. And they say the whole thing of this cost $15,000. But Emily says it makes her feel like a shitty mom. No, Emily, you're a normal mom. Those sleepovers where you're all on the couch or, the kids bring their sleeping bags. That's how I would want to raise kids, right? It's too much. But anyways, Gretchers is on a whole nother level. This feels like Gretchers energy, but also when you're on speed, alleged. No, but she's like, oh my God, I love stuff like this. I'm so excited to be back on the cast. Oh my God, Slade, I got an eye pillow. And then she's like, I love it, I love it, I love it. Which she reminds me of Molly Shannon, that character. She's like, I love it, I love it, I love it. I'm 50 and I can do high kicks. I love it, I love it. Remember, what's Molly Shannon's character from SNL? She's like, I do high kicks and I love it, I love it, I love it. Woo! So we see the full moon, and now we're back in Temecula, and they're putting on these the performative shirts that Tamra got for everybody. And Gina put hers on. And she's like, at least my ass is higher now in this because it's painted on. Woo! And she also got him these kind of rainbow swimmer hats. I don't know how to describe this, but Shannon's in bed with her outfit on. She's like, poor Shanners. I'm just going to call everybody Gretchers and Shanners. Jen's like, knock, knock. What are you doing, Shannon? And Shannon's like, I'm just so tired. First of all, it's back. Oh, she's telling her that her hat is backwards. And she's like, my grandmother used to wear them. And then in the other room, Gina's like, Tamra's like, where's the joint? So now we've got a leak. I will say, I give kudos to Bravo. They've really stepped it up on showing marijuana recently in the last year and a half. We've really broken a marijuana glass ceiling somewhere along the way. And Tamra's like, where's the joint? And Gina's like, it's right here. And Tamra's like, is this the Dubrow joint? And Gina's like, yeah, it's the Dubrow joint. This is a vacation situation. Heather's marijuana is like the Vouv of marijuana, Mary Jane. And so you need to save that for a special occasion. And Tamra's like, we do have a vacation situation. Yeah, it's like in case of emergency joint. We're busting it out. And Tamra asked Gina, did I do okay? And Gina's like, honestly, I'm so proud of you, Tamras. I feel like you did a good job taking ownership of stuff and also communicating the way that you feel. And Tamra's like, listen, I'm no fucking walk in the park. Jeff Timmons always told me that. No, I love, it's like Tamra gets patted on the back for doing the bare minimum that a human being should be doing. So Tamra says, people always think I'm a New Yorker because I'm like, I get over it, whatever, And Gina's like, you respect strong people, Tamra. And Tamra's like, yep. And then it's easier for you to dismiss people who aren't. And then that's something that, like you said, if you're working on understanding other different types of people, you have to accept that there's different types of people. And Tamra's like, yeah, you understand I don't like most people. And Gina's like, no, you like people. No. And Tamra's like, no, I don't. Tamra's being 100% honest here. In a talking head, Gina goes, I do think that Tamra wants to change, but she's not there yet. She's been in therapy for 10 minutes now. I feel like you got to give people space for growth. Shannon in the other room is rearranging Jenn Pedranti's hat because, that's the way her grandmother wore it. And Jen goes, are you okay after dinner? And Shannon's using her whisper voice. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. And Jen goes, you know what Gina told me? Gina just said, I care about Tamra. I've known her a long time, but I don't get into my deep, dark secrets with Tamra. In a talking head, Jen says, this cycle with Tamra is never going to stop, I don't think. I think it's who she is. I'm done with the fighting with her, and I genuinely like where my friendships with the other women are going. So we're on a girls' trip. Let's just have some fun. And then Tamra in the other room is like, Gina, it's time for a selfie. And she's like, okay, yeah, a selfie. And then let's go downstairs. Oh, we're so cute in this selfie, yeah. Let's go get stoned and get in the pool. Smoke weed every day. Woo. Okay, now we're back over at Heather's apartment mansion, and Gretchen is now put on kind of a mink coat. And she's like, I feel fabulous. I can do high kicks. Yeah. And Gretchen is on a whole nother level. And she's like, oh my God, this is what it would be like to be a billionaire, Emily. It's really coveting. Isn't that a sin too, to covet thy neighbor? But yeah, this is the life Gretchen wants to. I mean, it's the life that probably all of us want to lead, right? So now they're doing a little pillow fighting. And then Gretchen's like, ah! It's just a lot of screaming. But I kind of like it. I don't know. It's another pillow. This is dangerous for the cameraman. You're going to hurt somebody with one of these because these pillows are huge. They're not like tiny pillows like we have. They're like millionaire pillows. Heather is walking into the room after hearing the screaming because Gretchen is like, I think I broke my neck. Superstar. And Emily's like, you can't have a pillow fight at Heather's house. Come on, Gretchen. And Gretchen is like, they literally weighed 922,000 pounds, Emily. And she keeps throwing the pillows. And now she's hiding behind the bed. And Emily's like, Gretchen, what is wrong with you? It's so much screaming. And Heather is like, ladies, what is going on? Emily's like, I'm afraid we got in trouble with Mom. And talking to Gretchen is like, oopsie, it wasn't me. It was her. She started it. And Heather's like, I'm fine. The pillows are fine. It's all going to be fine. It would be crazy if they got a call from the front desk and got kicked out of their apartment mansion. So Heather now is like, are you guys hungry? And Gretchen's is like, abso-fucking-lutely. Do we want pizza, Heather says. And we have like all this whole thing set up. It looks like Kahlua, water, and Emily wants a Valium as well. And then Emily asks Nate, the night butler, goes, Nate, have you ever worked at the Abbey? And Nate goes, I have not, madame. Would you ever consider it, she asks. And he goes, sure. Yeah, Nate's just trying to make a living, man. Anyways, they got pizza, and Heather is like getting a slice of za. Nate's like, I'll be back later if you guys need anything else. It would be great if Gretchen was like, I need something right now, Nate. Your body, like, it's getting 98 degrees in here. Anyways, they talk about what else do you do at a slumber party, and Heather's like, want to talk shit about people. I do. Emily says, Gretchen, I'm still intrigued by the Tamra song. Was it like a pop song? And Gretchen is like, I don't freaking remember. And Heather's like, why do you have her singing? And Gretchen is like, because somebody sent it to Slade. Slade, you think that's weird, but Slade actually is kind of the Berry Gordy of Bravo. He's like the founder of Motown. But Heather's like, so you just kept it? And Gretchen's like, no, they sent it to him. He had it. And Emily's like, in a talking head, why does Slade have it? Does he have an archive somewhere? And Heather's like, ask him for the song. And Gretchen's like, oh my God, you guys are going to get me in so much trouble. Thank God this isn't being filmed right now. But they're like, go get your phone, Gretchen's. And Gretchen's like, this is not good, you guys. This could be bad. As she's going to get her phone. You know how easy to be like, no, guys, sorry, I'm not getting my phone. Sorry, no. But Gretchen's runs over. Slade, it's working. Our plan. It's working. But Gretchen's like, I don't want to show it. I don't want to show it as she's going to get her phone. And Gretchen's like, you guys want World War IX to happen. The producers are in the corner going, yeah, baby, get that phone. Yeah. Woo. So then we're in Temecula, you guys, and Shannon, she's in the kitchen, and she's putting together a charcuterie board. But I think Shannon's is high, too, because she's like, ee! She's like spreading out spreading out the crackers. And Jen is saying, this is a girl's trip. Tamra's got fun get-ups for us to go swimming in, and they're now all taking selfies together. And she goes, when I go back and think about our friendship, what it was like before all of this with Tamra, we had fun. Tamra is a good time. And that's the thing. Tamra is a good time, right? It's like there's all these different weird, like she's very angry, but she's really a good time as well. There's a lot of, it's like bipolarity. I don't mean she's bipolar, but there's extreme on both sides. And then they're joking how they look like they're like the synchronized swim team. And then they do one of those like phony setups of like old timey reels of like OC synchronized swimming. Lesson 1, the stroke. And they're doing it in like kind of sepia tone and like doing backstrokes and then forward. Lesson 2, it says the kick. And now they're kicking on the stairs. It's cute, guys. It's fun to watch Shannon have fun. Lesson number 3 is the dive. And then Shannon goes, whoo. That's what you're missing, Johnny Jansen. Shannon being sexy going, woo. And then back at Heather's, she's like, where's my phone? I have no idea where my phone is. Slade's going to be so upset at me. Hey, Siri, where are you, bitch? I can't find it, you guys. I don't know where it is. I can't find it. I'm looking. Maybe it's in your Bible. I found it. And Emma's like, I want to hear the song. I'm not going to let her off the hook, right? This is what happens at sleepovers. You drink Fireball and then you talk shit about your nemesis or nemesi. And then Gretchen's FaceTime Slade. And she's like, hi, babe. It's going all to plan, babe. Code word sibilance. Gretchen's like, so I might have gotten a little bit of trouble. And he's like, yes. Emily takes the phone. It has come to my attention, Slade, that there is maybe an audio recording of Tamra singing in a studio. And Slade is like, oh, yes, the story of Tamra in the studio. The story goes, this was her trying to record a song, and the two of them started messing around, and they forgot they were recording. And Gretchen makes a zoinks face, like, zoinks? Huh? So the audio of their extracurricular activities. And Emily's like, wait, there's audio of them having sex? He goes, this is just what I've been told. and they're like, wait, you said you have the audio. And Gretchen's like, no, I said I heard the audio of her in the studio trying to sing the song. And Gretchen's like, Slade, did you hear the other audio? And Slade goes, yeah, it was played for me. And Heather goes, we just wanted to hear her sing. Like, I don't need to hear a sloppy blowjob. I'd like to hear the music. And she goes, I don't care about this other stuff. It's gross. Terry Dubrow's like, I'll hear it. I'd like to hear. I'm awake. I'd like to hear it now. Emily in a talking head says, Slade, I mean, he literally like salivates at the mouth when he gets to talk about Tamra. I mean, Shane would have told me, shut the fuck up about Tamra and move on. Shane's a good man. But Emily's like, Slade just feeds it and feeds it. Now we have a Slade talking head. Ooh, Slade, you got a talking head. He goes, when it comes to Tamra, I'm not really interested in necessarily sharing dirt on Tamra. Right, Jesus? But I am interested in telling the truth. Truth, justice, and the American way. Emily, back in the scene, goes, okay, well, if you're not going to send the song, Slade, we're going to go back to our slumber party. Heather's like, yes, we've got to go. We've got things to do. Gretchen's like, bye, love you. We did it, Slade. We did it. We got it into the scene. And they're like, let's go hang in our beds. And Gretchen's like, you guys can't go back to Tamra and tell her this because this is going to be a problem. It's not to cause problems between the group. And everybody keeps going, too late. And a talking head, Gretchen's like, I don't want the girls to say anything about the extracurricular activity that was going on in the studio because that's not originally why I called Slade. I called Slade because I wanted to hear the footage of Tamra in the studio sounding like a drowned rat. Two birds with one stone, though, right, Gretchers? And they keep going, Gretchen's in trouble. Gretchen's in trouble. And she's like, I'm going to be in big trouble, you guys. Oh, I don't want this. We go back to the pool with Shanners, and they're now going, they were doing all of this like extracurricular in the house. Now they're outside. And Gina's like, now it's time to smoke this fancy marijuana. I'm what they like to call California sober. I do enjoy a little THC. I enjoy a little TLC. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to all the rivers and the tributaries that you're used to. So I love the California sober, you guys, is, I think you guys all know, but if you don't, it's like you don't drink, but you smoke a little weed. So, do a little edible. So they're in the pool now, and they're like, give Shannon Beador a joint. And Shannon's like, no, I can't because I have a cough. I thought she was already high. Or did she just do this off camera? Because she seemed super high. And Shannon says, I've had a cough since 2008. And Gina's like, that's a hanger-oner. That's a big cough. Woo. Yeah. But Gina's like, she's not Doc Holliday, because Doc Holliday, remember, he had like that with tuberculosis or something. And Gina's like, does she have like the black lung? I'm going to say this, and I hope you don't take offense to this, Shannon, but like, I really do worry about you because Matt just had a heart attack and it freaked me out. I worry about you. And Shannon's like, I'm good. And Tamra goes, are you worried about like her future, Gina? And Tamra goes, I think Gina's concerns are the same concerns that I've had for many years, and it's Shannon's drinking. I mean, this is like the same. It's not the same as like the Tamra audio, but it's the same of like, okay, let's get back on story. And the story is Shannon's an alcoholic, and we got to jam it down everybody's throats. And they're like, do you think we're just going to call Shannon one day and she's not going to answer? And like, Shannon's right there. Like, she's like, make me a bird so I can fly far, far away. And she's like, she's over 40 now, and I'm very aware that you could have serious health things that happen to you. And it's freaky deaky. I don't like it. It's weird, And Shannon goes, inside, it's 26, 28. I'm inside. Gina in a talking head is like, the girls are out of the house now and she's there by herself. And like, I just truly believe that it's way easier to make bad decisions when you're alone. How dare you? She has fucking Archie Beador. If anything happened to Shanners, Archie'd be like, it's Archie. I know dogs aren't supposed to talk, but fucking Shannon's not doing well, man. We got to get on. I have to use my actual voice, right? Shannon and I talking heads like, I'm sitting at home with my dog. I'm watching shows and I'm doing my Sudoku puzzles and I'm timing myself at every single one and I'm really getting good at it. So I don't bring up this kind of stuff. I have a good life right now, Shannon says. I know Sudoku is a thing. I don't even have the first understanding of how you play Sudoku. I've never even thought of playing Sudoku. But like, is it easy? Is it hard? How hard is Sudoku? Now, both parties, Heather's and Gina's, they're now getting ready for bed. It's curtains time, you guys. And Gretchen's like, Heather, thanks for such a fun slumber party. Can I have cash? But Heather goes, and a good night to you all. And they're like canopy beds, like even have lights attached to it, like twilight lights. And Emily's like, Gretchen, you have to stop talking. And Gretchen has the giggles. And Gretchen's like, this is my favorite slumber party. When Gretchen gets drunk, she starts to talk like a baby. Like Emily says her son Luke talks like. This sounds like a baby. Gretchen's like, Emily, I love you. And Emily's just passed out. But then wakes up and goes, shut the fuck up, Gretchen. Exactly, Emily. So now it's the next day, and we got some physical comedy of Shanners in the kitchen, because remember, she brought all her pots and pans to cook breakfast. And Heather's team, they're waking up, and Gretchen's like, I want this to be my view every day. It's like I said, it's coveting. Tamra finally comes down, and she's wearing a hat that says, I don't cook, but I like to stir the pot. I'm sure you can get that on twats.com. I'm sure she's selling this. And Shannon's like, I might have a pot for you to stir. And Shanner's making cauliflower rice hash browns. That does sound good. I'm hungry. Jenn comes down, and she's in full workout gear. And Gina comes down. It's like, it's a beautiful day. And Tamra goes, how's your new house, Shannon? Are you ever going to invite me over? Oh, God. And Shannon's like, it's okay. And Tamra's like, is that a no? It's just like 5 doors down from my other place. I just need sugar. Gina, can you see a thing for sugar? So she doesn't answer Tamra's question. And Tamra's like, are you going to go out and golf? Did you have your golf clubs? And Shannon's like, I just want to get this done. I just need to get the cauliflower hash browns done. But Shannon's like, yeah, I'll play golf after I do this. I got to get breakfast on the table. And Tamra's like, oh, she's just like Eddie. You can't talk to him while he's doing something, right? Jenn says Tamra is making an effort in a talking head, but it's like some guy trying to hit on a girl and she is not interested. Oh, my God. And then Tamra asks, what do you think the girls are doing in the sleepover? Getting out of their silk pajamas? How long can Emily endure fancy pantness, Gina says, before she fucking blows? Now we cut over to Heather's, and Heather has a private chef cooking. There's like 2 private chefs, and there's like fresh fruit and the fancy fruit, the fruit that I never see at like the Ralph's. They're getting coffee, and Gretchen says she's feeling a little hungover. She's not going to lie after that Abby thing. And Heather brings like another fur coat for Gretchen's to put on. And she goes, I definitely do not let loose like at this age anymore. Although I've been to the Goat Hill Tavern now. And we cut to 2 weeks earlier when Emily, Jenn, and Gretchen's were at the Goat Balls Tavern. And they were toasting Gretchen's first experience at a dive bar. There's no way this was her first experience at a dive bar. Bass Lake, are you kidding? Gretchen says, I feel like I'm getting better at my game this age. Yeah, your game and revealing information about Tamra. Now there's pastries laid out for Heather, and there's bacon cooking, you guys. Are you hungry? Now cut to Shannon. Shannon's like, can you beat the egg whites, please? And Tamra says she whipped her eggs too much because it's too fluffy. You whipped it stiff, somebody says. And then Gina's like, Travis is an easy target, though. And they're like, why is Travis an easy target? Because he's just always a little stiff. Because he hates everything I do. I don't know what this is in regards to. I don't know if it's just like annoying their husbands. And Jenn goes, Gina, do you think you and Travis will ever get married? And she's like, probably. I don't know. They're like, what are you waiting for? It's like the instability of just his circumstance, carrying around those 2 large bowling balls between his legs. And Tamra's like, well, you guys have a lot on your plate with his ex. And she's like, yeah, it's a lot. We just wait to see what the next thing's going to be. And, I think I'm just not focused on things like a wedding, because it just seems so unattainable, because it's like, I know that our priority always has to be to have a safety net for what's coming next over there. It's how I live my life. He has his court date in a month, and if it doesn't go the way that he should, he's scared. I'm scared. There is a lot riding on this court date because he's trying to get full custody of the children, and Travis is exhausted. It takes a lot out of you, And she starts tearing up in the talking head. We cut back to one day earlier, her in the car explaining to the ladies that she has withheld her stepson. She's building this narrative, she says, that he's scared of us. It's a retaliation to us moving in together. And Tamra's like, well, he keeps this shit up. They're going to take him away from her. By the way, Tamra needs to get involved. This is where Tamra would probably be good. And when I hear this kind of discord, I'm like, oh my God, we need to get this lady on OC Housewives. Why are we doing this off camera? Let's get this lady and show her what's what. Let's let Tamra attack this lady on camera. And Gina goes, well, he's going for full custody of the children. She goes, this toxicity always finds its way into our relationship, and it gets at you and it picks at you, and it's hard. It's hard, man. When you have a past, and we all have a past at a certain age, it does. It's hard, man. It's hard for things new things to bloom because you're carrying sometimes the weight of somebody else's anger, disappointment, sadness. But Gina's like, he's been through so much trauma. I've never seen anything like this in my life. He's a quality person, she says. He's a gift to his children. And the fact that somebody's trying to take that from these kids, it's so hurtful. And Jen's like, it's so sad because how do you put justice to that? You can't. And they're all kind of tearing up at Gina's revelation. Now we go to Heather's breakfast and they have a fucking place cards, Emily's written out in calligraphy. And we have fancy orchestra, would you pass the Grey Poupon? And the chef's like, ladies, we have a brunch for you. All the pastries are warmed, mini regular croissant. And then we have some macerated berries, some fresh mint. And Heather's like, thank you so much, Chris. And Emily's like, can I have a McDonald's hash brown? No, Emily's like, can I have a couple eggs over hard? And Chris is like, what? And he's like, you want it really cooked? Oh my God. Is Emily one of those people that's burn my steak? And it was and Gretchen says, I would never serve that to anybody in my entire career. And Emily's like, you make them however you want, Chris. And Heather's like, ladies, we have a chef here. Get your eggs the way you want them. It's okay. And then Gretchen's like, can you do poached eggs with $100 bills in them so I could take home? And Emily's like, he's going to be so annoyed by us. And then Heather's like, I would like an egg white omelet, but no cheese, please. And I like it well done, Chris. Well done. I'm paying for this. And he's like, of course, ladies, enjoy. Cheers, cheers. And then Terry walks in. And he's like, hey, honey, did you miss me last night, Terry? Terry comes in waving, kissing, shaking hands and kissing babies, right? He's like, hey, honey, hi. How's my money being spent here? Ha, ha, ha. All right. The food is getting served. It looks beautiful. We got some big old sausages. Terry says, I have never slept so much in my life. Ha, 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 ha. He's joking because Heather keeps him up at night. And Heather goes, he would love to have a sleep divorce. And Gretchen's like, what does that mean? And Terry's like, you sleep in another room from your spouse. And Gretchen's like, that's what's happening right now for Slade and I. Because he snores so much, I make him sleep on the couch right now. That's dark. It's not dark. I understand it, but it's dark. It's dark adjacent. Emily says, "Do you guys ever think about getting married?" So we're having similar stories in the two locations. Emily's like, "Gretchen, do you think you guys will ever get married?" And Gretchen's like, interesting. I think this is a perfect time to cut to commercial. We come back from commercial, and Gretchen's like, I think I've never had an issue with wanting to get married. So I think I would love to, And Heather's like, I remember years ago when we first talked about it. You were worried about financially getting married, Gretchers. And we flashed to 2012 when a younger Gretchers is like, because Slade is trying to get caught up on some of the back debt and trying to get the things resolved with in court. And Heather's like, you also don't want to take that on in a marriage. And Gretchen's like, yeah, I don't want to take that on. And Heather in this scene goes, but now you feel like that's all handled, right? And Gretchen's like, well, it's not even that it's all handled. I just feel like I've been with him for 16 years and I know who he is and I feel much more confident. Oh my God, 16 years. Man, doesn't time just fly? Oh, and as you get older, it just flies so much faster. In a talking head, Gretchen says, we tell everybody we're husband and wife. And we actually did a ceremony with an ordained pastor. Paper doesn't make us married or not. In God's eyes and our eyes, we're married. God's like, you're not married in my eyes. No way. No, it does not count. Emily goes, Gretchers, so do you have everything financially separate now? These are leading questions. Emily being a lawyer here. Let's find out Gretchen's financial situation. And Heather's like, yes, or your bank accounts together. Gretchen's like, I'd like to talk more about Jeff Timmons from 98 Degrees. But she goes, no, we've never done that. I've always liked to have my own money, Gretchen says. My home is in my name. I've always been very strict about that. I never wanted a man to be able to control me financially. Slade would never be able to control anybody financially at this point. Emily says, it's your house. So you make the mortgage payment or does he pay rent? And Gretchen's like, no, he doesn't pay rent. And I was like, well, I don't know. He has to contribute. He lives there too, right? Well, he's kind of like a handyman. He does light fixtures and stuff like that. But Gretchen just looks at Emily. Just look kind of like how I can't tell what this look is because with the work on Gretchen's face, I can't sometimes tell what emotion she's doing. But I think it was an intense look at Emily. And Heather goes, how do you decide who pays for stuff? Like who buys groceries? Do you split? Is one in charge? And Gretchen's really seems kind of like a little, a little unsure, uneasy, right? And she goes, I don't know. It comes out of my account. And Heather's like, does he pay for anything? Terry's sitting there eating with him. Terry's like, I pay for every goddamn thing here. Oh. And there's like pause. And Gretchen's like, I feel like this is like weird questioning. Uh-oh, Gretchen's is uncomfy. And a talking head, Heather goes, Gretchen and Slade's financial situation is really none of my business, but it just never has made sense to me. That's why when Gretchen proposed to Slade, we all thought it was bullshit. And we flashed to 2013 when they were on that roof. And Gretchen's like, Slade, you are my future. So with this ring, I hope you'll say yes. And he gets down on his knees and Gretchen's like, what are you doing? And he goes, it would be an honor and a privilege. Heather in the talking head goes, why are they not legally wed? Why does she pay for everything and refuse to put anything in his name? I don't know. She tells the group, I guess this is why it's fascinating to us, is that because we're all so commingled, it all comes out of the same pot. And Terry, you could just feel his eye roll. He's like, oh my God, we're one person. Oh my God. Emily goes, as soon as I married Shane, we had a joint checking, everything was joint. And I didn't sign a prenup, she says. And Emily says, that's a strange situation Gretchen has. What is the arrangement? Does he work? If he works, what is he paying for? I mean, he's got a crooked penis, Emily says, and he has to have it worked on. What is he contributing? Emily, how dare you? Gretchen's is the one that broke that penis. That should come out of Gretchen's bank account on that one. I feel like Gretchen should whatever cosmetic surgery he needs to go and straightening that penis should be on Gretchen's. Now Gretchen's like, oh, now I need a nap. But guys, the fun isn't over yet because Heather brought chair masseurs. Heather's like, have you ever had a chair massage before? And Emily goes, I've had a chair dance. And they flash to the Abbey last night. So now Gretchen and Emily is sitting down in these chair massage things. And Emily's like, I like the lady starts working on Emily's back. And Emily's like, I ate way too much. And these poor ladies having to rub these ladies. And they're like, oh, Gretchen's like, I'm so tired because you made me work on the pole. And Gretchen's like, you guys got me in trouble last night. You did. And Emily's like, you got yourself in trouble, Gretchen's. What did we do? And Gretchen's like, somebody asked something about a pop song. Now she's acting like she can't remember it. Too drunk. And Emily goes, and then you were like, she had an affair with a guy from bleep, 98 degrees, bleep. And Gretchen's like, you guys stop it. I don't know anything about that. And Emily's like, you're the one that told us. And she's like, I did not. Slade said something about that. I didn't, you guys. And Heather goes, Slade is your henchman. In a talking head, Heather goes, she took it to another level. After this many years, has he not learned to not get involved? Gretcher's in the scene goes, it was all of us having fun at our slumber party as girls and being silly. I shouldn't have said it, and I would appreciate you guys not saying something to cause issues, you guys. But I'm sure you're not going to do that, which is not nice. In a talking head, Gretchen says, what happens at a sleepover should stay at a sleepover. It's Vegas and sleepovers, you guys. And Gretchen's like, no, for real, I'm asking you guys. And Amy's like, you have completely taken this situation and made us the villains. In a talking head, Gretchen says, we were all having fun and it went further than what I had intended, but don't be an asshole and don't go running back to Tamra. You know it's going to cause conflict. This is just what kills me is once again, you know you're on camera. Emily goes, I didn't ask you about it, Gretchers. I did not manipulate you to get the information. In a talking head, Heather's like, backpedal, 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 backpedal. Emily's like, you gave away information about Tamra willingly. And I shouldn't have done it, you guys. And I'm mad at myself for doing it. Emily goes, but you say Tamra's a horrible person because she accused you of having an affair. And you had to spend all this money to prove that you did not. But you just accused her of having an affair. So how is it different? And Gretchen's like, it was on the internet. I'm saying the same thing. It was on the internet. So is it not true if it's on the internet? It's the same thing that she did to me. It's payback. It's retribution. Emily goes, so you and Tamra are the same. And Gretchen's like, no, we are far from the same. It might look like we're the same person. I just give Tamra the same energy she gives me. Emily in a talking head says, Tamra and Gretchen are the same person other than Gretchen uses more filters. Well, other than that, I can't tell them apart, she says. Heather goes, that was a rough sleepover, girls. So now the sleepover is finally done. Finito. We go back to Temecula. Shannon's breakfast is done. It's a beautiful backyard. They all sit around to eat Shannon's cooking. And they're like, thank you. And she's like, thank you, thank you. And she's like, woo, it's yummy. Woo. Jen goes, what does everybody have when we get home? Back to life. I like it's like the Breakfast Club. Do you guys think we'll all be friends on Monday? Well, like, what's going to happen after this weekend? But Gina's like, I got an open house for school tonight. Woo, kids, kids, kids. Shannon's like, I'm going to walk the dog. And Shannon's like, she's so cute. He's so cute, Shannon. And Shannon's like, when I leave, because I always feel guilty, I'll go, I'm so sorry. And I'll try to make it up to you because I talked to him and there's no one else to talk to. And we flashed it 2 days earlier where Shannon is talking to Archie. Going, Archie, I'm going to tell you exactly how long I'm going to be gone. 1 night and 2 days. Archie's like, don't go, Shannon. I've got a bad feeling about this one. They're going to make you wear a weird hat and a bikini t-shirt. Archie, that's all you need is an Archie dog, you know? But Jen goes, that worries me for you that's all you have. You're home with Archie. Last night you were saying, like, I think about you. I have a concern when you were talking about it in the hot tub. In a talking head, Jen says, Shannon likes companionship. We know that. So it makes me sad to think of my friend home alone. Guys, I mean, we're acting like a fucking bunch of kids. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Do you know how much good TV there is? Do you know how many good shows you can get involved in? And then you can consider those TV people your friends? Shannon can be fine. Why are you making her feel bad about something that she doesn't need to feel bad about? It's like you're wishing this on her. She goes, I would suspect that Shannon is lonely. And then Tamra's like, Shannon, do you still go to therapy? Jeez, she just made the food, you guys. Why are you doing this? And Jen's like, yeah, multiple times a week. They told me I was autistic. No, she goes, yeah, multiple times a week. Jen goes, yesterday, what takes you from like, I'm upset and pissed, Tamra, to like derailment? Oh, no, sorry. They're asking Shannon this. Ask Tamra this. And we flash back to the night before where Shannon's like, it's just fallible to call me a drunk and a fucking alcoholic and have another drink every single time you see me for a 4-month period. And Tamra's like, well, I don't say it every time I see you. And Shannon's like, every single time. And Shannon goes, I mean, we talk about catastrophizing in my therapy. And Jen's like, yeah, it feels like that sometimes. And Shannon goes, I grew up when you talk about you don't know what's going to happen every day, Jen. That's how I grew up. And Jen goes, meaning what? You didn't know what to expect day to day? And she goes, yeah, I grew up in a bit of chaos, Shannon says. And Tamra goes, you've talked to me about some of this stuff. And Shannon's kind of looking teary-eyed and just like, and she goes, it was a tumultuous marriage. I remember my mom told us she was going to divorce my dad, Shannon tells the ladies, and I was in college. I came home for the weekend and we flashed back to a young Shannon. And you guys, this doesn't look like Shannon's at all. Like sometimes you can see that person, but like Shannon, I can't even see Shannon in this picture. Shannon goes, I was home and the process server didn't get to my dad by 5 o'clock on Friday. So he came home and we had a barbecue. We played tennis as a family. And then I felt bad for my dad. And she starts crying that we all knew and we had to fake it. Oh my God. Ugh. Gina makes a face like, oh, ouch. And Tamra goes, didn't you say he had a drinking problem growing up? When you were growing up? Tamra, God damn it. Sorry, Tamra, but like, come on, Tamra. You're doing a lot of heavy lifting here that doesn't need lift. It doesn't, like, why are you pushing? And Shannon kind of snaps, Tamra, I get that you're trying to be helpful, but it's like my dad is fucking 96 years old and he's a different man. So there's just a certain level. I don't want to hurt my father. Do you understand? Oh my God. Are we going to get his 96-year-old father in a scene to like talk over what happened like 60 years ago or 70 years ago? Like, oh my God. I know we need storylines on this show, but come on. But Tamra goes, I'm not trying to hurt your father. And Shannon's like, you are when you've seen things like that, when he's not even like that anymore. And Tamra's like, okay. And they're talking to Shannon goes, Tamra and I did speak often about our past histories in confidence. Never in my wildest dreams do I think that private conversation would be brought up on camera. How dare she? And Tamra's like, I was just trying to help you, Shannon. You were trying to help yourself. And Shannon goes, that's not helping. That's not helping me. Tamra goes, saying that you did have some struggles growing up? And Jen goes, I don't think she said that to hurt you, Shannon. I'm not sold on that one, Jen. Gina goes, I feel like Tamra is genuinely trying to connect with Shanners, and help Shannon and speak about something that she knows is difficult for her to speak about. I don't know, you guys. I'm torn on this one because I feel like she feels she's driving the storyline by bringing up something embarrassing about Shannon's past that Shannon has told her in confidence. So I disagree with this. And Tamra's like, Shannon, do you talk about all this stuff in therapy? Shannon's like, yeah. And now Shannon's sobbing. And Tamra goes, if this stuff is buried, Tamra's like, I've done 3 therapy sessions so far. And, in all my hard work, this is how I know it plays out. And Shannon goes, if this stuff is buried, and Shannon is like, Tamra, I went to a trauma facility where I was in therapy for 8 hours plus a day for 30 days. So I'm well aware that this needs to happen. And then Tamra goes, sorry, Jesus Christ. Every time I say something, you jump down my throat. And she gets up to walk into the house. And Shannon's like, for you to try to explain out therapy. And Tamra's like, I'm not your enemy, girl. I'm not your enemy. See, she goes, I was just giving my 2 cents. So if you don't hop on board the Tamra train, like we spoke about earlier, she throws a fit. She walks off. Shannon tells the girls for her to try and explain how therapy works. Come on. Fuck my life. No, Tamra goes, fuck my life. I'm not going to even try with her anymore. Sorry, Team Shannon on this one. You can hate me, you guys. Team Shannon. Team Shannon's now inside the kitchen and she's like talking to herself. Fucking annoying bitch. Jen goes, I have to say, I disagree with you, Gina. I disagree with you. I think the statement about her dad, that's not nice. I think she's right. Exactly, Jenn Pedranti. And Gina's like, what are we going to do with this now? And Jen goes, I don't know. Let me go see what's going on in there. Let me go see what's going on. In a talking head, Jen goes, Tamra is smart enough to know she's not going to call Shannon an alcoholic. So she's going to lay out that Shannon's father also suffered from alcoholism so that we can all make the connection like, oh, it runs in the family. Shannon must be an alcoholic too. Bingo! Jen is seeing through the matrix, the Tamra matrix. Tamra's still talking to herself. I mean, the camera guy's there, but she's like, have another glass of champagne, Shannon. See, she's really, let's push the alcoholic storyline. Shannon is not drunk at this breakfast. But Jen and I talking to her goes, it's a dig. It's a dig. So Jen goes inside and Tamra's like, is it me? Or anytime I say anything to Shannon, it's like, I know, I've gone through it. And Jen goes, question, the dad comment. Did you really mean that? Or were you making like a dad was an alcoholic? She's been an alcoholic. You're not making a dig. Was that a dig? And Tamra goes, no, Jesus. She's just worried that it's going to make her look like she has a drinking problem, you know? I don't think she cares. I don't think she cares about her dad. Oh, God, Tamra. And Jen goes, I don't know, but she's not even, you know. And Tamra goes, that's what she just freaking yelled at me about. And Jen goes, these are all necessary steps, Tamra. You're just extending an olive branch. And Tamra's like, yeah, but how long do you just keep doing that? Yeah, Tamra's done it for like a day now. That's a lot. Now outside, Gina's like, it's good, Shannon, that you speak up for yourself in the moment that offended you. It's good that you told her it offended you. And Shannon's like, me creating boundaries and saying, I'm not going to go back there. That's one of the healthiest decisions. And Gina's like, yeah, it is healthy. It is healthy. It might not keep you on the show, but it is healthy. And Gina's like, she needs to know to learn where that boundary is with you, you know, and you guys have to navigate it through it together. But I mean, neither of you said anything too horrible to each other, and I want to believe that's progress. I just thought at this moment, it wouldn't be great if Gina was like, anyways, let's talk about the former fatty photo again, and Kiki Monique, Kiki Monique, Kiki Monique. But Gina's like, I want to believe this is progress. And Gina's like, in a talking head, I believe time heals all wounds, but not all wounds heal the same. Some of them look weird, and you have to go in for more surgery on them, you know? And so then Gina's inside like, oh, should we pack up? And so it's a weird ending as Shannon's starting to clean the dishes. And Jen goes, let's not just leave it weird, ladies. Come on. And Gina goes, I just think you guys are navigating through your new dynamics, and it's going to be a little bumpy. And Jen's like, yeah, that's right. Tamra in a talking heads goes, oh, you know, I was really hoping for the best. I had all good intentions. Oh, right. Tamra's going up the stairs and she's like, get me out of here. In a talking head, no, she says, Tamra goes, no matter what I do, Shannon's going to find fault in me. And I don't think there's anything left for me to do. Now, Tamra's gone upstairs. Jen tells Shannon in the kitchen, Shannon, she said the comment about your dad was not a dig. I asked. I said it felt like it was, and she said it was not. And Shannon's like, of course. You think it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Oh my God. Shannon in a talking head goes, I'm not a dummy. I'm not a dummy. And Gina's like, I can't fucking take this no more. Shannon in a talking head goes, she's got an excuse. She's got an explanation for everything. I don't believe it anymore. Good for you, Shannon. Shannon says, I'm just going to hopefully just listen to my gut about what I should do. You should go to that Chinese herbalist. Dr. What was it, Dr. Wu? What was that doctor? And he's like, Shannon, you're blocked up everywhere. Shannon says her therapist told me not to come and to stick my ground. And she's like, oh, I just can't take it anymore. Oh my God. And Gina falls to the ground. And in a talking head, Gina goes, these women are literally 61 and 57 years old. And they're acting like they're in goddamn middle school. It should be studied by the therapists. I don't want to talk about anyone's therapist, Gina is saying on the floor. I don't want to talk about anybody's mental health. Then you can pack up and you can leave OC, Gina. It's going to be a great car ride home. And that's the end of the episode. But then next time on The Real Housewives of Orange County, Emily has a scene with Annabelle about hooker red nail polish. And Jen has a conversation with Ryan saying, this whole wedding thing keeps coming up. And he's like, I thought we said we weren't going to get stressed. And then Jen talking to her daughter's in tears going, it's just like weird, you getting married again. And then we have Sophia, Tamra's daughter, at some college of music. And they're like, you could be performing every day, Sophia. And Tamra talking to her daughter saying, it's bittersweet. I don't want you to go. I really don't. And then Emily saying, Gretchen starts telling us you recorded a song, Tamra. He proceeded to say that you had an affair. And then we have Tamra going, what do you know about me, bitch? And Gretchen goes, you don't want me to talk. So now we finally got the Gretchen Tamra showdown. Remember 2 episodes ago, they just forgave each other. And then Tamra goes, fuck off, with double birds in the sky. So that is the episode, folks. Sorry for this being late. I really appreciate you coming here, as always. I hope you checked out the Salt Lake City recap. That was truly unhinged. Have a great weekend. I'll be doing Patreons this weekend, but it's Friday, so eat something good, drink something great, tell people you love them. We are all not bad. We can all be one, hopefully, and that's it. Meet us back here on Monday for an all-new Pop Culture Roundup. Have a great weekend, folks. Bye.